Welcome to Stories That Stick, a podcast series about the stories that shape us.
Making Dreaming Was Black was to say to everyone else out there, like, yo, I see you.
Listeners, before we begin, please know that we start all our conversations with death, because we believe that death truly makes us reflect about the life we live, and we aim, in our own little way, to share the life of our guest. And in today's episode, we have Salmon Adjani, a film director and actor who's best known for his award-winning web series, Dreaming Whilst Black. That being said, we hope you enjoy today's episode. Let's talk about death.
Okay.
Are you scared of death?
No, I wouldn't particularly say I'm scared of death. I feel like if I was to be concerned about it at all, it would be to die without leaving a meaningful impact.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does that look like?
So a friend of mine, Anna, passed away last year, or is it 2 years now? I think it's last year. It feels like last year. White, middle-class English girl. She passed away from some infection that she got while in some weird place, but she was a filmmaker.
Right.
And she turned to photojournalism. No, this is like a white 20-something-year-old girl, yeah. The way how she was in places like Slab City, by herself, just taking pictures of like the underbelly of America, and don't care. I remember when she passed, I was like, yo, brother, like, look how much she's done in the time, and look how she aggressively just attacked it, not caring like of consequences.
But do you think, I mean, without doing her a disservice, our org is, especially rest in peace, don't speak ill of the dead, but her culture.
But that's what we need.
Right.
Let me tell you the difference between us. We've been taught, and you know, that whole twice as hard, half as much, all of them thing there. Mm-hmm. We've been taught to be qualified. Let's be clear. I wanted to be a filmmaker. I did at least 4 short courses on filmmaking while I was working in Jamaica. So I'd fly over here, do a short course, come back. Cool. Then I did a master's. Note, I already have a degree. I have a degree in architecture, but because I wanted to be a filmmaker, I did a master's in film. Ironically, when I applied for the master's, even though I'd been working in the industry for 3 years, they're like, oh, you know, we don't know because you don't have a background. I said, okay, cool. There's a 2-month film course in New York. I'll go to that during the summer so that I can prep for your thing. They're like, all right, cool. We'll give you a conditional acceptance based on that. So note, I did 4 short courses. Then I did a 2-month course. This is after working 3 years in the industry, and then did a master's. You see, when I went to that master's program, I met someone who was a civil engineer up until June.
Oh, okay.
You see how I prepped?
Yeah, no, of course.
To be a filmmaker because I need to be qualified.
Yeah.
And man who just did whatever came in. There were people in my course who didn't know how to use a camera. No. Cool, you can say that's admissions issues, right? But the audacity to think, me in my brain knowing I've only ever done architecture and say, oh, I want to be a filmmaker, I'm going to just do a master's, is wild to me. I'm not qualified enough. I don't want to get drawn out. You know, part of whiteness, brother, is freedom and audacity. That's it. Sometimes it manifests in racist ways and terrible, like capitalistic ways. But just the audacity. No experience, no qualification, no expertise, nothing. But I can do it though.
First decade of life. Do you have any fond memories? Any stories that stuck with you?
Well, there are loads of particular stories. Like, I feel like it would all boil down to summers in Jamaica, summers in Kingston particularly. So I moved to Jamaica when I was 5, but my mom and I lived in Montego Bay, which is like the second city. But my whole family lived in Kingston, so it was just us two. And obviously we'd go there like on weekends and, you know, try to go there and thing. But summers, I'd be like there the whole summer. You see me? And like my family is a tight-knit family in terms of like my cousins,
right?
All part, you know what I'm saying? So like I remember just being there this summer with like Nicholas and Taboo and that whole street. It's weird. He would live down a street. And when I go back now, I'm like, this is actually a weird street even for Jamaica. So it's like a L-shaped dead-end road, completely residential area, which is weirdly in between like 3 bad areas. But this street, like this little ends, is decent. You know, like they're like teachers or police people, you know.
Yeah.
But we just inhabit that street, right? So because of that, we could play football in the street. We could play cricket in the street. Like where I run up and down and play hide and seek on the whole street. It's a dead end road. The only way a child can escape, you have to run down the one street. You know what I'm saying? There's a year where like everybody get a bicycle for Christmas.
Every year, jeez.
No, but like, so 1 year, everybody got a bicycle.
Okay, gotcha.
So the whole of way I ride bicycle and it's like follow the leader. And, but because I was like the youngest, I was always like trying to keep up with them, man. You see me? So yeah, I thought like, no, they're like 12, I'm like 9. Even like there was 1 year where they were colluding like, yo, we could get the children this. And
That's
it's like,
really community based.
yo, trust me. It would, but then, yo, my next door neighbor beat me. Holy pattern. My time, she probably beat me more than my mother. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Why? What'd you do?
Yo, no, you know what? No, you know what? I wasn't rude. I would say I was mischievous, but they had a thing. Well, Auntie Jaya particularly had a thing where you see if one person do something, every man I get beat. Because that mean the person who did it, everybody else knew it was wrong.
You're complicit.
And you allow the man to do it. And yo, I never did nothing. I would be like, no, say the man about do something like, yo, dog, we could try climb on the roof. Yo, my gone inside, I watch TV. When I dip on it within the car. When she come and licks a dash out, we can say, yo, inside I watch TV. But I don't know nothing about that. But yeah, those summers were, those were great times.
Was it easy? Because it sounds like it was just you and your mum.
You know, it's funny we talk about sacrifice of the previous generation. So my whole family moved over when my mom was like 8, 9 or so. In like Midlands, like Nottingham area. And all of this, her siblings moved back except her. She became a lawyer here, actually. She was here, we were working. And when I was born, she kind of said, yo, like, I'm going to raise a black boy on my own in South London. It's like, nah. So she moved back to Jamaica. And obviously, like, in terms of the economy and the money what she'll make is a massive cut, like, just standard of living shift. But she was just like, nah, she fears raising a black boy in South London.
No, I understand that. Was there any signs at that early age that helped make you see this world in a creative lens? Since your mum was a lawyer. I mean,
yeah, and it's funny because I didn't read for years. I just hate read. Like as soon as pictures came out of books, I'm done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was this thing called, I don't know if you guys have it here, Hardy Boys.
Hardy Boys.
It's like a detective series of, you know, young teens and all of that shit. But they had like 3 pictures in the middle. So you have to read to the middle, see the 3 pictures, and then, bruv. At some point, we used to try to read to the middle and see the 3 pictures just to understand the 3 pictures. Yeah. But after that, I'm done. What is this? I was like, nah. But I do remember I was always drawing. So like painting, drawing, that kind of stuff. So I guess that would be a creative outlet. It's funny because I remember Christmas time, you draw like, you know, the birth of Jesus kind of thing. You know, you draw some religious drawing thing. And I drew my, like, you know, Jesus, all the disciples and everything. But everybody was black. I just used a brown crayon to draw everybody. And the teacher called my mom and she asked her, she's like, what do you teach your son? And it's weird because my mother and I have never had like conscious discussions or, you know, like educating me about the world or none of them.
Does she not have those usual tropes then that you do have to work twice as hard? Well, I mean,
No.
how did she prep you?
So her thing wasn't twice as hard. Her thing was always be the best.
Okay.
But remember, I grew up in Jamaica, so everybody blacks is not twice as hard for half as who. Like, you know what I mean?
That's very true.
But her thing was, you need to be your best as well as the best.
Is there a danger to strive for best?
I don't know. It depends on the child. I do think it depends on the child. And I do feel like she, whether correctly or incorrectly, valued me to say, look, this is a smart child.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm going to push him to be the best of himself. And I guess because my report card has always said, could do better no matter what I get. That was always it. So I think that used to just piss her off. So it's like, he's messing around. You know what I mean? So I would like watch TV till the moment so she come home, lock it off, open up the book, and then act like me I studied. Like that's how I remember my child. You see me? So I guess she always knew that, yo, man, like you're not fulfilling your potential. And I guess for her, she made a sacrifice. she had a nice little life down there working in the city as a lawyer and them thing there. And she gave that up to move back to Jamaica.
We're now going to start moving in towards, I guess, secondary school. Whilst at school, the tutors and the teachers that we have in our lives, there's one that really make an impact. Is there one for you? Is there a name?
Yes. I would say there are two, but one in particular because it was on a different level. I had a tutor, Stefano, in second year where he would just ask the question, why?
Right.
So if you drew a square, why is it a square? And you're like, shit, all right, cool, yeah, let me come back and draw like a circle. Then you come back and he's like, why is it a circle? And I'm like, yo, but you did say, but you never liked the square. I'm like, I didn't say I didn't like the square. I asked you, why is it a square? No, you come back with a circle. Why is it a circle? Like, where's your intention? What is your intent? You know, what is the impact you're trying to have? And I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. So that was one, but I said Anurag is who kick out my mind. I remember the first class, this is supposed to be history and theory, third year. I did the culture and history because it was just sound like the easiest thing. And I remember going into his class, and the first class he was like, yo, so what is culture? Culture is a way of life. He's like, all right, cool, what's a way of life? Explain that. Oh, you know, the habits that people have, and give me an example. Somebody, I remember Bridget, he was like, oh, you know, some Nigerian people eat jollof rice. He's like, so if a Nigerian doesn't eat jollof rice, is he Nigerian? And he's like, well, yeah, and he's like, cool, so what is culture? He spent the whole hour disproving everyone's idea of what culture is, and then said, okay, cool, so your homework is come back and tell me what culture is next week. And I was like, yo, that's mad. And I remember every man is vexed. You don't, I don't know, come talk like why man not just teach you the thing? But I remember I was so blown because it was like, challenge every word you know. Challenge everything. Why is it? What is it?
From what I'm hearing, you're very much conscious, and I don't like using the term woke, but you're woke, brother. It's like, oh, I mean, that seems like it's always been the case.
The black consciousness never really come till much later, I'd say, because again, I grew up in a country where everybody black. And so it's coming to England and going to America, being awoken to this, I'm black. And that means something. That don't mean you have to work harder to get a girl. That means your life may be impeded by your blackness. Whereas in Jamaica, our prime minister was black, 18 years, PJ Patterson. So at every level, I saw someone black in Jamaica. So I would say the black consciousness, it came at about 23 or so where I start really.
What happened? What was the catalyst? Was there a trigger?
I remember in uni, there were so many experiences in uni which kind of slowly, I remember even the first essay I wrote, because again, I always thought again, pretty man proper, I'm got big school at Jamaica, you see me, know English. And a teacher came after me and was like, essay was so good. And I was thinking, was it? I did it last night. But she was like, no, the English was so good. And I was thinking, yo, English is the first language of Jamaica, yeah? Big man thing. I know my accent kind of sound mash up, but we do speak English there. Or even I remember the first overt kind of racism I would get, which was mad because on St. Patrick's Day, and obviously with all our white Irish friends, and for some reason we just couldn't get in. And it was only me, Abdul, and Eddie. Eddie's Nigerian, Abdul's Somalian. And ID's, oh, sorry guys, it's a private night tonight. I was like, oh no, that's cool. The Irish brother, John's our guy, bro. And even John's on the other side of the glass, waving at us, and he's looks at him, all right, can I see your IDs, guys? Cool. 21 and over tonight, sorry. In my head, I'm like, bruv, every man in there's in first year. So I don't know we are talking about 21. And at the time, it never even clocked to me Wagwan. And I remember Abdul and Eddie fucking flipped out, yo. So I call him racist and bare things. And I remember in my head, I was vexed, but in my head, it's just a security guard abusing power, yeah. And them go over to the adjacent bar, and there was a black bouncer there, and it was cussing and telling the black bouncer, yo, talk to your brethren. Come man's racist, bruv. Black bouncer end up come over, talking to the man. Come back, all right, guys, IDs again. Then the man look, no hat, no soft shoes. I'm like, bruv, Then I'm like, rah, man, really? And because the Black Bouncer was there now, and Abdul and them, you see what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, some youths guy in it, because people are still going in while we're outside. Bear man in Converse and thing, and the security, like the Black Bouncer talked to him. I was like, yo, like, big man thing. And then he let us in after that. I remember thinking, rah. But what was even more annoying about that experience is that I go inside and I'm telling my friend, and she couldn't get it. She couldn't get it for the life of her. There's no reason why our race had anything to do with us not getting in. She even get to the point where she asks, oh, is it because we became aggressive? Why? And I'm like, B, how do you not get this? So even that, I was just like, rah, I'm black, bruv. And that means you have limited access in this place. So yeah, that was when I was like,
that's when
shit.
You started becoming more conscious. Do you recall one of your first books you read?
I would say one of the first books I read on that, because I always knew at that age, like after architecture school, I knew that I should read. I knew that, there are loads of things that people are telling me, which I have just read a book, I would have known it, but now I'm listening to them and taking their word as gospel.
Right.
So I started with small books, like tiny books, you know what I mean? So there's a book called The Fire Next Time, James Baldwin. That book there, fire book.
What was in it about it?
Yo, so it was just, so it's two, like one is like a letter to his nephew, and he's basically telling his nephew what he will go through in life because of his black skin and because he's a black boy. And the other was just general his thoughts on like where black people are in the West. And I'm just like, oh shit. Now I'm down the rabbit hole. I'm now trying to find tiny books to read, them 100 pages, them kind of things, and slowly build up, you know what I mean?
So let's bring it into the crux of who you are and what you do currently. You're a filmmaker.
Yep.
You're known for your work Dreaming Whilst Black.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yep.
What do you want to talk about that hasn't already been said about Dreaming Whilst Black? Because it has been out for a little while now.
I've been out for a year now, yeah. What I want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I'll prompt you, I guess. Was it well received?
It was.
But was it well received from the people you expected it to be well received from?
It was, which is what it was great. Like,
okay.
if I was to like, what's like the niche audience? I'm like, it's black filmmakers, then black creatives, then black people, because black people will just get the references, they get it. And it was interesting because we actually premiered it in like 6 countries.
Right.
And it was interesting after we started doing like our own little tour. So we did like a uni tour here, then we had our season finale in Paris, and obviously a screen in Jamaica. The whole people received it differently. Obviously in England, everybody was like, yo, like that's my life, dog, like, all everything there, and they got it. And especially like the race reference, they got what we were trying to say. Ironically, in Jamaica, some people are like, yo, are them thing they're going to England, dog? No idea. France, interestingly enough, that was a tough fucking screening.
Really?
First of all, they weren't laughing at like none of the jokes. Like they ain't laughing. And I was thinking, fuck, this is tough. And then I remember the first question. So I've made it with 4 Quarter Films, friends of mine from film school. So one of the producers was there, Max. Max is a white dude. First question the audience asked was to Max. And our brother was like, why do you, as a white man, feel like you have a right to be a part of this project? And I was like, yo.
Yeah.
This is a lot. And, he was like, yo, he's like, obviously it's not his story. He relates as a filmmaker. Like, I'm his friend. And if his friend has an experience that he feels needs sharing, like, he's supporting that. So it doesn't matter if it's his struggle. He's like, if that's my friend's struggle, I'm backing that.
Yeah.
And they were
as
like,
an ally.
Yeah, as an ally, yeah. I was like, yo, good answer, white man.
Yeah.
So, but then even for me, like, I remember another question was like, yo, so who did you make this for? And I was like, yo, black people. Like, if I'm to be super niche, it's for black creatives. And she's like, okay, so a lot of the show deals with the microaggressions that black people go through from day to day. Why do you think black people want to experience that throughout their day and go home and watch it again as a comedy? And I was thinking, oh, shit.
How'd you answer?
I just said, you know what? Jamaica, we laugh at pain. That's how we cope. Somebody drop, we laugh. The person who's on the ground, laughing unless I'm crying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how we deal. That's our coping mechanism. So for me, making Dreaming Whilst Black was to say to everyone else out there, like, yo, I see you. like our experiences. It's not like dog whistle. It's real. They're doing shit, and I'm letting you know that I know, and I'm sharing that with you so you can tell your friends like, yo, this is our life on screen.
It can't have been easy for you to have got that off the ground and for it to have been screened in so many places as it was. So how did you do this?
Yo, as I say, you have to adapt. As I said, I'm hanging on enough white people to see them do so much shit where I'm like, nah, I need to start doing that shit. Like that level of audacity. And I remember at the time we released that trailer, we put that trailer out on everywhere, you know, Instagram, YouTube, and the trailer start blow up, like people start pop up, like, yo, like that's your bad. And my brother was like, yo, dogs, we had for like the premiere, you know, come to Jamaica. And I was like, nah, we had do our premiere in London. And he was like, yo, but we do a premiere in Jamaica same time, still international thing. Yeah. And I was like, yo, yeah, cool. Make some phone calls. Made some phone calls, and there's a marketing guy who wanted to invest in the shows. I was like, yo, like, we're thinking of. He was like, yo, we actually want to do a premiere here. We want to fly out here, but obviously in London. I'm like, yeah, cool. So the Jamaica thing. I'm like, right, so we're premiering like Jamaica and London. And my brethren was like, you know what, dog? And this is why it's my brethren.
Yeah.
I said, if we have a thing global. And I was like, I wonder if I could have done that though, for real, like big man thing. And at the time, so my cousin is a photographer, Henry, and he did a job with some people in Amsterdam, this group called Amsterdam Black Women. So she actually messaged me. I was like, yo, your trailer's sick. And I was like, yo, you don't want a screening though? But it has to be on March 18th and it has to be like at this time. I was just like, yeah, great. I'm sure all the girls would love it. Boom, Amsterdam. And I was like, all right, cool. Who else me know? Yeah. And so I have a brother from high school actually, who again, because the trailer blew up, people started reaching out to me. Because then these are people who I haven't spoken to in years, who never even know something in a film. A brother of mine, he's teaching in Shanghai. He's like, yo, dog, the thing's sick, mad. We can't get like a preview. And I was like, yo, you can get a preview if you screen it in China. Boom, Dreaming Was Black in China. And even get to the point where, so we have a podcast called The Lit Race with my friend Taufik. He's Ugandan. So I'm guessing Taufik with the thing, you know, like, blood man got the thing in China. And he was like, bruv, so what? No African country. And I'm like, yo, but what you saying though? Man said, let me message my cousin. Message his cousin in Uganda now. His cousin is like, what you mean, bro? Like, send the thing, we'll screen the thing. Boom. Uganda. It literally just became like this thing. Who can I get to show it somewhere? And some like Shanghai was like 15 people. No matter. I screened in Shanghai. Talk to me. I premiered in 6 countries at the same time. Talk to me. Yes, one was like 15 people in like a classroom. But
you know, we don't talk numbers.
We didn't even talk numbers, my dog. It just evolved into this massive thing, and it was literally just off the back of a wild idea.
Hey man, dream big. What's interesting of this story is specifically the viralness of the trailer. Was what got eyeballs and people interested.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lesson to be learned there. Make the trailer bang.
I used to work as an editor in Jamaica. My boss was literally like, if the first 3 seconds don't bang, they're not watching it. So I was very, like, I got trained in like 3 seconds. If this is to be exciting in 3 seconds. And we did like about 8 or 9 drafts of the trailer. Literally 8, 9 drafts, tested it with people, 8, 9 drafts, tested it with people. So it's funny when a lot of people are like, yo, the thing's sick. I'm like, bro, the thing's at work, you know. This is not an overday thing. Like, it took 2 years for a reason. Like, we worked hard. Not like enough scripts get 10 drafts. Matter of fact, you can see what everybody thinks are the best episodes is directly related to the amount of drafts were written on that script. I think it's important to like demystify this like awesomeness, this ingeniousness. Like people tell, oh, yo, it's a sick, brother, genius. No, not a genius at all. Not even close. I just listen to people's stories. Dream Was Black is a collection of stories. So if it's anything, I'm a good collector. Like, but that's what creativity is, right? Taking 2 ideas, putting them together, making it a new thing. And that's all that we do. So I feel like it's important that people know like creativity is hard work.
You are a filmmaker. It is all about the impact that you make and the legacy you leave behind. I want to ask, is there anything you'd be satisfied to leave this world knowing that you've done what?
Hopefully I would have left knowing or impacting someone to chase their dreams relentlessly, regardless of the obstacles. You know, yes, there are certain advantages or opportunities that I may have had, but opportunity doesn't equal achievement. You still have to fight. So I would just hope that, like, when people look back at my life, whenever that ends, they'll be inspired to say, you know what? That brother went for it, you know. He tried. That's all you can do is try.
Just sitting in front across you, I can say that you've already accomplished that.
We'll see.
What do you hope is out there, and what would you take with you?
If I could take one thing. But it depends, cause I mean, if the afterlife, if I'm supposed to be this great thing, I don't even care nothing.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
But just in case it isn't.
If there was an afterlife that was like something which I'd have to maneuver and like navigate, I would definitely carry books so that I can remember and like readapt to operate in this new space.
So what to watch out for?
Watch out for Dreaming Whilst Black.
Okay.
Make sure you pay your TV license and all them thing there. Don't bootleg that thing. Like, and we have a new option now, a new TV show we're working on called Gabby's, which is a mockumentary about a Jamaican takeaway restaurant. That would be funny.
That'll be banging.
That would be
and
banging.
hopefully we can bring you back on and we can
Yes.
talk specifically about that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Bless.
Today's episode was produced by Ade Bambala, sound designed by Chris Arise, and if you'd like to be featured on Stories That Stick, then please do get in touch. Blacticulate Productions.